All right. Great win tonight. I knew that it was going to be a challenging game. They've got a lot of talent. That's a team that, they've beaten the SEC team on the SEC court. They've beaten Murray State. They, obviously, got a huge win by a large margin versus Western Carolina on Monday night. Came in here with some good game flow, good game rhythm. And, a lot of people talk about this 4 games in 8 days. You get to play, and so a lot of times at this point, the guys that get to play a lot, you just kind of get in game rhythm, and they've got a lot of talent. And Sloan is somebody that's just dynamic. He can really get to spots on the court. He can make shots. The Brewer brothers are as talented as it gets. King's got a lot of swagger. And then I'll tell you, Seymour's playing really well for a freshman. He plays with a ton of energy. And I didn't think early – I thought they were the harder playing team. And I thought early they had more energy in us, and I thought they had more pop. And, man, they were flying up and down the court. And we were getting destroyed in transition. We were just basically letting them get in the paint at will. I thought they were chasing balls down a little bit harder than we were, and we just had to change our spirit. We had to change the way that we were competing, and give our guys credit. I think that we came back down 10, tied it, right there before half. They made another push to push it. They went on a 7-0 run right after that, but then the Garrett 3 right before halftime was huge. Yeah, I think that was a huge play in a lot of ways, just for Garrett's confidence. I think he needed to see something go in, and then really, that 6 minute. That 4-minute segment, the sixth one of the game, we break it up into basically 10 4-minute games, and we've struggled in games in period 6. That's been something right out of halftime. Those 4 minutes, we haven't been great in the 4 league games, and we were +6, and we came to that media up 2. And I think back and forth from there, and then I think we would go on a 15-3 run to close out the game. So, just. Offensively, I thought we did a lot of good things. Defensively, I thought we left some meat on the bone, but I think you got to give those guys credit. I don't know the deflection numbers. I know we only had 8 at half, and that's not good enough. So we got to watch it. We got to see, what we got to do better in that first half to make sure we come out with a better energy, especially at home. You'd expect to, but at the end of the day, give our guys credit for responding the way they did and getting a quality win.
Coach, they were so good inside the arc, ETSU. What was the key to holding them to 3 points in the final 5.5 minutes?
Well, at some point you got to guard the ball. It's you got to slow the ball down in transition. They're elite there, and we knew that. And they've got guys that can run, they got guys that can push it, they got guys that can make shots and finish. So you got to do better in transition than we did. And then once you get in the half court, you got to be able to really keep the ball in front. We were picking up full, and I thought we were giving the ball a little bit too much space. So that last 8 minutes, we pulled off the ball, and we picked it up more at the arc. And I thought that condensed space a little bit to where they couldn't just get in those gaps quite as easily. And I thought that helped us a little bit. But then, they missed some shots, and I thought our flow got better. We were going back and forth. What they were doing, they were trying to get the matchup they wanted on Sloan, and we couldn't quite figure out how we wanted to guard it. And we ended up just switching it, and at that point, you gotta get to stop. You gotta keep a guy out of the paint. You gotta make sure you have active gaps, and you gotta have a really good flow without fouling. And I thought, fortunately, in those last 4 minutes, we did a much better job of that.
Most games have sort of a moment of ignition. I think that when Conway had something like 9 points in shortly under a minute over 2 threes and a 3-point play, I think y'all had led 56 seconds in the whole game, and you seldom trailed afterward.
Yeah, that's a good question. Usually that pops on film, like, okay, here's the play that kind of turned it. I do think both teams were making plays offensively that made it difficult. Like we took the lead, and I thought, okay, crowd's going to get into it. Well, then they made a run, right? And then when we make a run, I think we were down 2, and we had that. I didn't even see how Conley got the ball, but all of a sudden he got the ball and goes and dunks it and ties it. There's some plays like that where we caught some breaks, but I just thought that he played with a ton of confidence. I thought Marcus Foster did a lot of good things for us tonight, and then Mike Bothwell. They were going under Mike, and I do think a big shot. I think we were down 6, and they or maybe we were down 5, and they went under Mike right there in front of our bench, and he shot it, and he hit it, and they're down there yelling driver, and he's a good driver, but Mike Bothwell can shoot the ball, and Mike's got to believe that, right? And I want Mike to play with that confidence. I want Mike, if guys are going to go under, shoot it. You know, like, I mean, you're not going to get a better one. You know, like if somebody's going to go under you and you're in the gym all the time and you're shooting 40% from three in the league, close to it, shoot it. And, you know, I thought that was a huge shot that I remember just because we were down a little bit. But, you know, he's 2 for 6 from three tonight. He had 15 points, but he also had 6 assists. And Mike was great. I mean, I know there's going to be a lot of talk about, obviously, Conley and it should be, and Marcus. But I thought Mike, I mean, just the 2-foot plays, the drives, you know, a lot of different things that he did. And then even, you know, Slaw didn't have his best first half energy-wise, but I thought he turned it late. And I thought he got some big rebounds. I thought he had some big defensive plays. And then he had the big underneath score, you know, to put us up 2 right there. So, you know, I thought a lot of guys did some things to contribute.
Marcus, I'd like to watch it. Marcus played an inordinately long time with 4 fouls. And I was sitting there going, and I was actually watching him to see how he was avoiding, and I was just thinking to myself, thank goodness it's not Jalen, because if I were another team's coach and I was trying to give him something, I would have a lot easier time baiting Jalen than Marcus. But
you know, and I told Marcus, I said, look, I'm gonna put you in 8 minutes to go because he was defending, and you know, I said you just can't foul, and you got to play with your hands out. You got to make sure your hands are back. Don't swipe at the ball. Don't try to block the ball. Like just keep the ball in front, but you got to go play regular defense. And you know, the one time he doesn't all the way close out to the corner, and Sloan makes that 3 in the left corner, and you know, fortunately we came down and made another one. But you just got to go play. Like the best thing to do when you get in foul trouble is just play with discipline, but still be aggressive, so where you don't think about it. But if your position's right and in your hands, you have discipline in your hands, that doesn't mean, you know, you have to foul, right? Like you're going to make a choice if you foul. They can't make you foul. And I thought he did a really good job in his discipline of not thinking, okay, well, now I got to play passive, right? Like I can't. No, just go play discipline, be aggressive, all right? But understand what you can do and what you can't do. And to his credit, he finished the game. Made 2 big free throws.
yes.
Big free throws.
You talk about the defense tonight maybe wasn't up to par for a little bit of the game, but on the other hand, you created some lob ball turnovers, and that led to 20-6 advantage there. So I feel like they did, you know, take advantage of. They made ETSU pay for the 14 turnovers. Can you talk about just, you know, Conley stealing? There were several plays like that in the game where you guys made them kind of pay for turning the ball over.
So we did defend well in the second half. We were .94 PPP in the second half, which is really, really good, especially of a team that quality. The problem was we were 1.15 in the first half, which is awful. And so, fortunately, our defense, basically what that is every single possession, we were a quarter of a point better in the second half. Okay, we'll do that over time. That's a huge change. And then offensively, we were 1.26 in the second half, which is unheard of. Okay, I mean we've had better, but that's a really good offensive half of basketball. 1.03 in the first half. We just didn't play the game the right way in that first half, right? Like 1.03 offensively, that's just okay. It's about the national average. But 1.15 defensively, like you're not beating people doing that, you know. And so, give our guys credit to go out there and just really on both sides of the ball to play just with more thought, more intentionality, more attention to detail. I thought we played with a little bit more confidence. You know, that stuff, confidence grows. I mean, everything's contagious, right? And when you play with a certain mood, when you play with a certain demeanor, and you think everything's bad, right, and you're projecting that, well, that's contagious, right? When you start, you know, that's the whole momentum play. Momentum's not some magical, you know, deal in the air, right? These guys the energy starts getting contagious. Oh, we're making shots. Oh, I feel good, right, and flying around. You got to go create that, right? You got to go create that. And I thought, like you said, we did a great job. I think looking at it, we scored 20 points off their turnovers, and so. You know, I thought, like I said, I don't know the deflection count tonight. I know it was a lot higher than 8 in the first half, and you know, we had to decide to play harder, and sometimes that's not a decision you make out of feeling when things aren't going your way. That's just a decision on standard, and that's a decision on responsibility and trusting what has to be done for us to go have a good result.
Coach, obviously, what Marcus did with 4 fouls was pretty commendable, especially given the fact he hasn't had a whole lot of experience playing, much less playing with 4 fouls. But I thought a key for his thing tonight was in the first half, without his early contributions, you could have been in a whole heap of trouble. His drives to the bucket, got a athletic shots off and got him to go, which kept him within shot distance.
I mean, I'm telling you, Marcus is playing now. I mean, 5 for 10, and I love the fact that he tried to shoot that 3 late. You know, that's just belief. I want him taking that shot. I want him to believe in it. I want him to believe that he's going to make that shot. 4 for 4 from the free throw line. You know, we would both love, he and myself would love to see him get a few more rebounds. But, you know, he didn't turn the ball over. He had 2 assists, 14 points. He just, I mean, look, it's not like Marcus is becoming a consistent player, and he's working at his preparation. He's working out hard. He competes in practice. And it's just, you know, it's one of those deals where he's starting to bloom a little bit. And, you know, he's had the confidence of helping us win that game in a mighty way at Greensboro. He had the confidence of what he did tonight. And, you know, yeah, he was attacking the basket. He was putting the ball on the deck. He was finishing. And then really, to be honest with you, he's defending. I mean, when he sits down and gets in that stance, it's a pretty sight. And then he starts to chase balls down and goes up and get balls at his highest point. I mean, Marcus is a player. And, you know, I think a lot of times I'm trying to convince these guys of, like, how good they are, but then how much better they can still get. And that's a great thing. That's a message of hope, right? Like that's humility at its finest, to know that, hey, I've earned the right to go out there and perform. I've earned the right to go out there and expect to play well. But I want to come back in here tomorrow and figure out what I can do better. And I think Marcus, if I could really just sum it up in the last year, I think he's just embraced that humility of it. You know, like he's just embraced I don't have to be defensive. I don't have to, you know, I want to be coached. I want to get better. He's just been a joy to coach this year. And not that he's never been a joy to coach, but it's just been a lot of fun. Like he's just somebody he's starting to get more comfortable. And I think that's just him trusting the process, and you're starting to see it pay off.
I know that it's early, and I know you have 2 really tough games on the road coming up. But in this conference, which is nothing if more teams are lifting up from the bottom, 4-1 looks pretty good right now.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I know this sounds super cliche. I'm one at a time. I mean, that's how I've been for 5 years, and I'm sitting here trying to think I usually know this opponent, and I know the next one. I'm going to go home. I'm going to get my kids home. I'm going to kiss them and tuck them in, see that beautiful baby and my beautiful wife, and then I'm going to grade this film. I'm going to get some sleep, and then I'm waking up, and I'm all attention to Chattanooga. And
it is cliche, but it is true.
It's true because you can't worry about all that stuff. Like you can't. Everybody gets caught up in the scores, and everybody starts sizing up guys. Hey, you better show up. You better show up wherever you go in this league. You better be there, and you better you get caught in the score watching. You're gonna be disappointed because none of it makes sense, right? Because it comes down to who's better for those 40 minutes. That's it. And with the three-pointer and with transition and with open offenses and different ways that people are playing, like, listen, anybody, I mean, come on. Anybody can beat you on any night. Now, if we play well and they play well, whoever we're playing, we're gonna have respect for the opponent. But we're gonna have confidence that if we go out there and do the hard, gritty things of the game, that we believe that we're gonna have a chance to win. But if we don't go out and do the necessary things like we were doing in that first half, don't be surprised. You know, like, don't be surprised. I mean, it's you've got to stay focused, right? And it's got to be a windshield mentality of looking forward. Don't look back. Look at the next one. Put all your focus into that one. And then once you get done with it, learn from it, win or lose, right? And then as quick as you can, win, lose, or draw, as quick as you can, get to the next one. And that's what we try to do and stick to a process. And it's fun. I think this league's a blast. I mean, it's the league has proven how good it is. And it's got some great styles. It's got great coaches. It's got a lot of good identity. And you got to be ready to play every single night.
I do want to ask, was anything said to Conley at halftime? He doesn't take a shot in the first half, and he ends up with 23. And now you've got 4 guys who scored 23 points in a game this year.
Nah,
That's something to talk about.
I very rarely say things to guys offensively at halftime in terms of, like, because you don't want to add any pressure to it. It was a staff discussion that, you know, he's too good of a shooter for us to just let him be out there and not take any shots, especially how they were playing certain guys. They were switching and going under and doing some things that, you know, they did. They had a good scheme, and we had to make some adjustments at halftime. But we started dialing him up a little bit, and we got him on that misdirection play on the right wing, and then we dialed him up again at the top, you know, and just trying to incorporate him a little bit more. When you have a shooter that good, there is a little bit of a coaching responsibility to we've got to get him shots, you know. And I'm a coach. I like the game to be played free. I don't like to micromanage the game offensively. I like guys to be able to be in concepts and be able to read what the defense is doing. But I also have an obligation when you got a guy that can shoot it like that. We got to make sure he gets looks. We got to make sure Alex gets looks. We got to make sure Mike gets looks. We got to make sure Slauson gets looks, and they all do it in their own way. And then we got to make sure Marcus has some drive plays, and you know that's part of managing the game offensively, that you work that in. But you also don't want to you know, just jack the game up by trying to, you know, stay on the play card. I figured that out after my first or second year. Just the more plays I called, the worse we played, because it just kind of slows their feet up, and then you're putting in more stuff. So you got to know when is the time to call something, and when is the time to just let these guys go, let the ball move, let the ball talk. And I think there's a balance of that. And I thought we did a good job of that. And then he got hot and he got going. And one thing about our team, we got an unselfish group. And once they see a guy's going, they know how to get him the ball. And that's one of my favorite things about this team. I mean, we've had guys that everybody's had a night, you know, out of all the starters. I mean, Alex, Mississippi State, you know, Mike, Louisville, you know, Slauson, you know, the Charleston game here, Marcus, Greensboro, you know, tonight's Conley's night. The best thing about our group is when they sense somebody's having a night, they find them. And they love it. They enjoy seeing other success. And I think some of, you know, Mike's 6 assists, I guarantee you we're going to turn the tape on, and he's going to be driving in there and kicking, you know, and doing things to get those. I mean, the big shot he made in the corner to put us up 5, that's just a driving kick. You know, that wasn't a design call. And, you know, sometimes those are the best plays that you can get, but you got to have guys that are willing to make those plays.